Hello and welcome to this video on repetition in music. Today we're going to be looking at how you can use repetition to make your solos and melodies, compositions and improvisations sound a bit more musical through a really simple set of techniques and practices that you can start doing. One thing I notice a lot when teaching this stuff or teaching improvisation to students is almost always one of the biggest issues students run into when they're starting out is they will just jump around a lot and come up with a ton of ideas but not repeat themselves, and it usually makes things sound a bit of a mess. So, for example, a beginner guitarist solo might sound something like... Hopefully what you can see from that is there's just not a lot of repetition going on. Now I can try and make this sound more musical, playing some of the kind of same ideas, but just repeating myself more often. So I mean, not the most exciting solo in the world, but you can hear, hopefully, how the repetition there is creating a bit more interest. So, how can you start to use this in your own playing? So, what I would say first to try and do is take a scale shape that you know, so pentatonic if that's all you've got, or any scale shape that you already know and are comfortable with, and try just repeating short phrases. So, and if you're not comfortable with it, pick an easy one like the pentatonic and just give it a go anyway, because it helps for learning the scale shape as well. So I'll move back into C major or A minor pentatonic position down here, and what we'll do is just 4 notes. Pick 4 notes out of the scale. Think like you're writing a melody. Just really simple. And then try and play it again. Let's see if you can remember what you played. So a few more examples. You could go... Don't have to be 4 different notes. Or... You start to hear that if you string some of these together, they might have bigger melodic context. Even though they're short, simple phrases, by repeating them, they start to sound musical in and of themselves. So then, pick a backing track, same idea, just short phrases and trying to repeat yourself while playing along to something. So I'll give you just a quick example of that. So for this, if you're wanting to play along with this track in the video and have a mess around, if you're using your pentatonic or 6th shape, you're either at 2nd fret or with your 1st finger at 2nd fret or your 1st finger at 14th fret if you're doing it the octave up. So this is just taking that 4-note phrase and repeating it a few different times. Then again, different phrase. Cool. And different rhythms. So you can play about changing the rhythm between them. Though I'd mainly start with just trying to play the same rhythm each time. Once that starts to feel more comfortable, add a note in. So 5-note phrase. Then go different phrase. Start making them longer. Now, as you get further into this, what you can then think about doing is structuring these and putting different phrases together. So, if you've ever done poetry in school, which I'm sure most people will have done to some extent, you often label rhyme schemes like A, B, B, C, C, or something like that. So, if your first 2 lines rhyme, they would be A and A. Second 2 lines rhyme B and B, and then C and C for each different rhyme. Now, if we think about this in terms of similar musical phrases, you could start structuring ideas like this. So if you have A, B, B, that could be 2 of the same phrase or 2 very similar phrases, and then 2 different phrases that are the same. So I'll play that for you. So A, B, B with 2 phrases. Then again. And then we'll go B. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do A, B, A, B. So I'm testing my memory to see if after I play a different phrase, I can remember the first one. Then B. Back to A, and back to B. Slightly different on my B phrase, I think, second time, but that was actually the point I was going to come on to next, is I would try and practice getting as close as possible for a good while, just because it's great practice for your short-term memory when you're playing, which I hope you're improvising a lot. But if you're finding, if you want to develop musicality beyond that, and again, practice that, it's really good practice. But when you're improvising, you may then want to make subtle changes to the start or the end, or maybe a change in the middle of the phrase. Often start and the end has more impact. So what I'll do, just to demonstrate that, is I'll do let's do A, B again, but on the second time I play each phrase, I'm going to subtly change it. So it'll be like A1, B1, A2, B2. Then B, A2, B2. So then hopefully you can start to hear how this becomes like this larger musical structure, but because it's referencing things you played before, it sounds like it makes a lot more sense. It's like you're talking in paragraphs than, full sentences rather than spitting random words at the audience, if that makes sense. So you could try more complex patterns like A, B, B, A, C, or A, B, A, B, A, B, A, C, B, C, B, A. Try that one. So hopefully you can see there, I'm starting to take these ideas and combine them in slightly more complicated ways. So I wasn't following a strict pattern on that one. But what I am doing is I'm coming back to ideas I've already played and changing them slightly and re-referencing myself. And other ways you can do that is with like sequencing. So you take an idea that you play somewhere, and then I can take that pattern and move it somewhere else in the scale. Maybe not quite right, but get the idea. I've shifted this thing around, but it still feels related to the last one because of the rhythm and the shape of the melody, even though the actual notes I'm playing have changed, and maybe some of the intervals between them. That's also a really good one to use. So I hope that gives you something to get started with. The main thing is practicing copying yourself and trying to repeat what you're playing, and I think that will really help set you in the direction of playing something more musical in your solos, and put you on a path to just having more fun writing melodies and solos and stuff. One thing to note is that usually melodies are more repetitive than guitar solos. So like if you're writing a vocal melody for a song, not always by any means, but often, you know, a main melody part with a vocal will tend to be slightly stricter in the way it repeats than a guitar solo, although it depends on genre and what you're doing. Remember to do this to fun backing tracks or songs that you like, that you know the key of or that can figure out the key for. You'll have more fun putting it into practice, and you'll get to practice rhythm that way as well, which is super important. So give that a go. So I hope you found this useful and it sparks some ideas that you can go try. Again, main thing is just practice, build it up, start small. If 4 notes feels like too many, start just copying yourself on 3 notes and build it up from there. And it will be more difficult if you don't know the scale shape very well, so it's worth just playing strictly up and down it as well. But this is quite a good, fun way to be able to break out of just playing linearly up and down the scale. So if you're having to think about it in a different way by, you know, playing notes in weird orders and things, that'll help you memorize it as you keep using it. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Always happy to help. If you want to support me and help me do some more of these, or I'm going to keep going anyway, but if you want to support me doing it, then you can pick up some merch on my Patreon. I've got a new single coming out soon, so you can check that out and give it a like and a share when it does. All the socials and that are below. You can also book lessons with me. There's a link to that on Lesson Face. I'm taking private lesson bookings at the minute. I've got some spaces if you'd like to do that or have any questions. Use the link below and fire me a message. You can also support me on Patreon, where I will be putting up more guitar lesson related stuff. At the minute it's mostly unreleased music that gets put up there and nowhere else. So there's some songs and singles, there's some demo EPs and things, and I upload those there. So if you check out my music, which is Jonah Eli, and you decide you like it, you can head over there and support me if you so wish to. Other than that, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a great week, and happy practicing.